Before I introduce Sanju, I just want to recap sort of our process to date. And it started way back in March of 2022 with the first staff report with a request from council at the budget meeting on the opportunity that was really provided to this community through the Municipal Accommodation Tax. So council approved a MAT bylaw this past December that provides for that 4% fee, and it is to start on March 1st, 2024. In the consultation that we had with operators last spring, we heard from you that it was really important that there be a level playing field. And so council has also adopted a short-term rental licensing bylaw. So it will also require the payment of the 4% fee. So hopefully you know, that achieves what you were looking for. The city did an RFP to select the nonprofit entity that's required by legislation who will work with the city to allocate the funds that are collected to promote tourism and overnight stays. So the successful bidder on that was the Chamber of Commerce, and the Chamber is working hard on articles of incorporation for that nonprofit entity, as well as an agreement with the city that will really provide the structure of our relationship with them and determine how those funds are spent. Lastly, and really our focus today is the collection of the Municipal Accommodation Tax, and council approved an agreement with ORHMA, who I'm sure you're familiar with, and I'm really pleased to introduce Sanju Abraham with ORHMA, and he will share with you as operators all the information you need to know relating to the collection and remittance of MAT. And Sanju, as I've learned my way through this process, has just been so patient, and I think you'll find that he's a great resource for you as you start working with MAT together with us. So over to you, Sanju, and welcome to Owen Sound on this snowy January day.
Thank you very much, Pam. It was a nice drive, uneventful, pleasant drive up. It's all good. Thank you very much for this meeting. Well, my role here today is to introduce ourselves, ORHMA, Ontario Restaurant Hotel Motel Association, and we manage about 24 municipalities in terms of collecting and remitting taxes. Just to repeat the last sentence, we, ORHMA, collected about 24 municipalities in terms of municipal accommodation tax. And I work with all the cities in terms of collection and the stakeholders, which are the restaurant, the hotel, motel operators, and in some jurisdictions, short-term rentals as well. So today, I have a presentation about 10-15 slides. Then I want to walk you through the processes, and what I'm more eager to is the Q&A session at the end. So in between, if you have any questions, please raise your hand. Just ask the question so I can answer at that moment. For the City of Owen Sound, the Municipal Accommodation Tax, the start date is March 1, 2024. It's based on the bylaw number 2023-127. So today we are presenting some of the documents that you can use, some resources you can use, and also the procedures from step one to, let me say, A to Z. We have an online travel agent letter. It was sent to each hotels, and a public notice display in the hotel lobby or in your website or any other place you may wish to do that. And the City of Owen Sound has an agreement with the ORHMA to collect and remit MAT. Pam talked about that. And we have developed a secure online MAT reporting portal, and I want to introduce that to you as well. So this is the website that each hotels and in the future short-term rentals will log in once a month for the hotels and once a quarter for the short-term rentals to report your data. And I will walk you through that process today. I just want to talk about a few minutes on the website itself. It's a secure website, and with all the latest security in place. Part of the reason is your competitive information for your hotel, your data, number of rooms sold, number of rooms available, and your average rate. All those are yours. So the access that one hotel receives is only for that hotel only. And once our hotel, let's say an employee who's designated to access that website, if that person leaves the property, as soon as that email is no longer valid, that person will never be able to get back in. So it is a secure website from that perspective. Only authorized people are able to get in. And I'm able to, as a administrator, I'm able to see all the data for all hotels, but ORHMA does not ever share that data within the hotels. So we take that accountability very seriously, and we will follow that information. We never share the information of one to the other. So just to recap, starting March 1, 2024, there's a 4% on the rooms and accommodation charge, and the MAT is subject to HST. And many hotels ask why MAT is HSTable. The reason is the Municipal Accommodation Tax is a levy charged by municipalities in Ontario based on a legislation created by province of Ontario. But the CRA states that any levies created under a province is HSTable. There may be a day it might change, but for now it is 4% plus HST. The next screen will show a typical MAT and HST calculation. For a hotel, let's say a room rate is $100, and the MAT is 4% or $4. So the net total room and MAT is $104. HST is charged on 104. It's $13.52. So the total the guests see in their folio would be $117.52. So in effect, the tax rate is 17.52%. And on the other way, some hotels and motels provide a rate including all taxes. If that is the case, if you post a rate of $100 all inclusive, then working backwards, your room rate on your books will be $85.09, 4% MAT, $3.40, $88.50 is the net total, then HST is $11.50. So when you submit the MAT to ORHMA, you do not submit the HST portion. HST portion that you charge on the MAT is remitted to the CRA on your regular frequency. Because we asked the CRA what's the best way to handle this. So CRA always say that the HST is remitted from the source, the company who are collected under their business ID. So the MAT that you remit to us is pure 4% MAT. Now there are exemptions for municipal accommodation tax. The first exemption is the room rented for continuous period over 29 days or plus is exempt from municipal accommodation tax. But for any hotels, typically when the guests check in, a reservation is for 35 days. I would recommend that every hotel do charge MAT until they cover the 29 days. Then they know for sure they're exempt from the MAT, then you can rebate. Otherwise, if they do check in for 35 days, but they check out after 7 days or so, then you may be left with tax on yourself, or you have to charge it at that time. So perhaps it is the best practice, charge the MAT until they reach that exemption period. Rooms used by the city or its agents for shelter purposes will be exempt from the MAT. And when you have an agreement with the city, that agreement can reflect that aspect. Complimentary rooms that you may give a complimentary room to your employees or even a guest, that will be exempt from the MAT. Well, there's no HST, there's no charge. Multiplied by 4% is zero anyway. Hospitality rooms, if you have a group coming in and you're giving them a bedroom as a hospitality room to put some things in it. If there's nobody staying in it, then even if there's a charge, it's exempt from the MAT. It's for accommodation, it's for people who are staying. Now, the next item, the rooms paid in advance before March 1, 2024. So this particular exemption has certain nuances. Let's say that I made a reservation today at Best Western. I paid taxes and room charge completely. So then I check in there sometime in March 15. Then I would not be paying MAT because that transaction deemed complete at the time of the payment. They're checking in after. But on my report, your monthly report, there's a place that you can place that amount for exemption. But I made a reservation today at Best Western here, but I'm only coming in July, but I paid $100 as an advance deposit because that transaction will be completed when I check in and check out. That's when I fully pay the hotel. That means that transaction deemed complete after the MAT is in effect. So therefore, it's the MAT chargeable plus the HS2. And I have some best practice ideas later in a few screens to how to handle those reservations on the books. If you read the legislation for municipal accommodation tax, the municipal or the provincial one, you will see a lot of exemptions above and beyond what I described earlier. Every board as defined in subsection 1.1 of the Education Act are exempt. Universities and colleges, hospitals, long-term care, and the charitable shelters, house of refuge. None of these are applied to the hotel for the group that we are attending here. For example, let's take the Education Act, universities and colleges. If a staff, a university teacher, staff, student stay here with you for in a hotel, you charge them MAT. If a government employee stay with you, provincial, federal, or municipal employee staying with you, even when they have a per diem government rate, you can provide them the government rate, of course, but is subject to MAT. Always. In a hospital, a patient stays, the hospital will not be charging the municipal accommodation tax. But if a patient stay with you before they check into the hospital for elective surgery, stay with you 1 or 2 days, you charge them MAT. So these exemptions are for those facilities. And if there is a university or a college in this jurisdiction, I don't think there is one. If they have Georgian College, that's right. I'm sorry. All the students who are staying at the Georgian College will not be charged MAT. But if a student stay here, they have to pay MAT. MAT collection. So these are some of the things you need to start working on now. Please add MAT, municipal accommodation tax, to your property management system. So one part of the legislation clearly stipulates that a guest should see the 4% as charged as municipal accommodation tax as one line, just like now it shows HST, harmonized sales tax. If you have a room, please spell it completely municipal accommodation tax. If your system allows it, if not, say MAT, municipal accommodation tax. Create a separate line on the guest folio. We just talked about that. Add MAT to general ledger. So your GL, please add that. For example, you will have a line for rooms revenue, accommodation revenue, food and beverage revenue. There will be one for HST payable. The same way, beside the HST payable, you can have one line, new account, MAT payable. So anytime when the guest charge with the MAT, when they check out, room portion goes to the room account, and the HST goes to the HST account, which will have the HST on the MAT as well. And the municipal accommodation tax goes on its own account. So at the end of the month, when you balance, typically each hotel balance their books by the night auditor every night. Then front office manager or the controller typically sign off on it the following day. But at the end of the month, you have all the data, so it's all balancing very easily. Inform OTAs, online travel agent. With the letter was provided by the city early January. It might take 2 to 3 weeks for each of your travel agents to adjust the rate. The quicker you upload the rate into the system, the actual 4% will be collected at the time of the reservation, so easier it gets. And you also need to go through all your reservations on the book. For example, let's look at your communication, your website, or any contracts you may have, the language. You include, typically it says HST and applicable taxes. So if you can edit that, HST and Municipal Accommodation Tax, 4%. And you may have some reservations on the books now for a group business, be it a hockey team or any type of leisure travel. Contact them now and share that letter from the city. Say, when you arrive, it'll be 4% more on the rate. The quicker you do it, the better. There may be some pushback here and there, but most people know now that there is a 4%. It's very common in Ontario and other jurisdictions. So I do not really expect much of a problem. And the weddings can be a little bit more trickier, I think, because those are the individuals. I have seen or heard that some jurisdictions, the wedding groups have a more of a negative feedback, but inform them early as possible. I always say the secret sauce for implementing tax is the transparency. Let everybody know and point the finger to the city, because it's not voluntary. It's a mandatory tax. It's a tax, so therefore they have to follow. You may have a locally negotiated rates with the corporations, companies, local companies. If that is the case, please contact them right away and inform them. Any new RFPs, requests for prices, requests for proposals, anything. If you have any forms that you have, please consult all of them and make the changes now, please. The hotels file their MAT return on a monthly basis. So you have time until the 15th to report the previous month's data. And I will walk after this presentation. I'm going to walk you through on our website to show you how the data is entered. It takes about 30 seconds once you have all the data. Typically, month ends are done 2, 3, 4 days after the month, so you have enough time to typically to make the payment and the report by the 15th. And we accept payment via check, of course. And all methods except cash and credit card. So that means we can provide. We have a designated account for each municipalities. The monies that we collect never mix with our operation funds with the of ORHMA. So we are audit ready all the time. So that means funds come in, they are segregated from the beginning. So we can provide you a account dedicated for designated for this city, so you can deposit it directly, direct deposit, EFT, wires, any method that your home office may want to do. On our website, we can actually give more than one person access to it from the same hotel. Say, for example, Best Western, you may have your front office manager report the data here, or general manager, but the checks may be coming from a different location, just in case. If that is the case, the corporate officer or controller can also have access to it, so they know exactly what's happening and make the payment. So we can actually facilitate more than one person access to the same hotel. Penalties. If the hotels does not pay MAT on time, and then city has the ability to put penalties, charges based on the bylaws. The city can add your outstanding MAT to the tax roll, or it can become a lien against the property perhaps, or pursue other remedies under the bylaw. Audit and inspections. Please do keep all your records for 7 years, just like CRA's tax regulations. City treasurer or an agent may inspect and audit all books and documents, transaction related to the municipal accommodation tax. We manage the region of Waterloo, and they selected a sample hotels, and they're going through the audits. City of London is about to do that. City of Toronto and Mississauga have done the audits. By the way, I do not look after Toronto and Mississauga, but the others we do. Online reporting portal that we have. I will access it for the purpose of this presentation. I will finish this presentation first, then I'll go to that. It's a secure login, and it issues reminders each month at the beginning of the month to create the report, just a friendly reminder. And if the report is done, but not the payment has arrived, later on in the month, they will issue thank you for the report, but please make the payment. Once I receive the payment, my office apply that payment against the report. So as soon as the report is matched with the payment, the system issues a receipt to you. So you'll know exactly when we receive the funds and apply it. And the data that you submit, the city is able to see it as well. I will give a city administrator access to it, so they can also see who reported, who have not, or who have not paid. And the licensing department will have access to the short-term rentals as well when the time comes. We are fully transparent between hotels, towns, and ORHMA, and everyone see their portion of the data, but not others. Our system, if the city decided for us to manage the penalties, our system can take care of that too. It creates its own aging report, and it counts the number of days the payment is behind, then you can apply in penalties. City of Hamilton asked us to do that, so we have done that. On a reporting portal, these are the few data points we collect: room nights available, room nights occupied, rooms revenue, and the exemption. Then you can print the report from the remote return on a monthly basis, and you can use that to make the payment. That means I will not invoice you because I do not know what to invoice. The data is self-reported, and you make the payment based on your own data. And these are my contact information. And if anyone not present here today would like to contact me, please check with the city, and they will provide my contact or my office. I'll be happy to help you with any issues you may have. And I welcome any questions at this time. In the meantime, I will change the presentation to the website itself. Is there any questions at the moment? Well, let me start with some of the scenarios that I encountered. No-show revenue is a typical. So when a guest books a reservation and they may not show, you may have lost an opportunity to bring another guest in. It was too late or to sell that room to someone else, therefore a no-show. So if there is a no-show revenue, even though there's no one stayed, you do charge HST and the MAT. Simple as that. And if anyone actually, if you decided for whatever reasons, if you give that no-show back, if you decided to, if it's a charge back, or if you want to rebate it, then you can rebate the HST and the MAT, just the way you usually do. Parking fees or food and beverage or any other related guest charges, none of them are MAT applied. It's only for the rooms only. So what if there's a 1%, 2%, 3% charge? When the room charge goes up, the MAT goes up. And if there is a pet fee, even though pet is a living animal, no fee. It's only typically for human. Pet fees are not MAT applicable. If you bring a rollaway bed, typically there's a fee for rollaway bed. If it's for the bed, there's no charge. For the person, yes, MAT apply. It's depending your own unique situation. If you're just charging for the service for the bed, an additional bed, but if there's a person you're charging, yes. Any other scenarios you can think of, please ask. Otherwise, if you don't have any questions at the moment, I will, if you have something else later, please ask. Yes, please. No. Yeah. Well, in the past, I think I'm going to go back a little bit in time. We had in Ontario something called a Destination Marketing Fund, DMP, Destination Marketing Program. Different jurisdictions call different names. Those fees were voluntary. You could refuse. A guest could refuse a DMP or DMF, 3%, 4%, and then the proprietor cannot enforce that. But municipal accommodation tax is a real tax. It's a levy created under the jurisdiction of Ontario, so therefore they cannot refuse, just like the HST. And if they do refuse, a hotel have to self-assess, unfortunately. And I don't think any hotels wants to do that. Yes. And that's quite all right, because it is a creation of the city and therefore they have to pay. For us, as a hotel operators and city, the most important thing to do is just be transparent. It's very common. Most travelers do know. I remember about 7 years ago or so, City of London started it before COVID. Well, it's been a long time. 2018, actually. They started 2017 end. And there had some complaints, especially from small towns in Ontario staying in London. They thought that it's not like going to Toronto, it's London. So we should not be paying tax. Now, those complaints are very few and far between because it's become very, very common. If you go north, or south, it's everywhere. So I don't expect much of a trouble from that perspective. I want to talk about the 28 days plus issue or the exemption. If a guest stays over 28 days or 29 days or more, they're exempt from the MAT. So what does that mean? It's for the guests who are staying, not the company who is paying. So if a company creates a reservation for 3 months for the entire summer or 4 months, then there's a construction crew coming in. And if they're rotating on a weekly basis, the new crew coming in, it's not a continuous same stay. So those reservations, even though the reservations were longer, but the people who are staying are different, that means those reservations have to charge MAT. But if the same guest stay, say for example, a homeowner had some sort of renovation, accident, fire, something happened, and they're staying with you and the insurance company paying for it, if they stay with you for 2 months, yes, it's MAT exempt, even though the insurance company picking up the tab. So it's not about who is paying, it's who is staying. That's where the MAT is charged and how long that person or family is staying. So I'll start again on this particular page, just for the purpose of for those people who are attending the later recording. So when a hotel receives your login, you can actually change your temporary password, access it. So this is what you get. And on the left side of the screen, the MAT reporting, and click MAT submit button. And the hotel assigned to you will show there. In this case, just Quality Inn. And for the month of March, it's the first month you will be reporting. And select the year that you're reporting and the gross rooms revenue. So this is from your profit and loss statement or your general ledger. Number of rooms available, using 3,000 as an example. Number of rooms sold, 1,850. Let me just bring the screen down. So stays over 30 days, those are exempt. exemptions. Let's say $10,000. Tab over, and rooms paid in full prior to bylaw date. In your case, it's March 1. Let's say there's $5,000 was all prepaid. Now, total qualified exemptions is 15,000 already calculated. Then net rooms revenue, 235,000. We started with the 250,000. So the MAT due is $9,400. This $9,400 should be in your MAT payable GL, which is balanced because you balance on a daily basis at the end of the month. So you write a check against or send a wire against it. Then once the data is complete, all you do is click submit. So at this time, the data is recorded permanently. So when you click here, next time when you log in, you already know that you submitted for month of March. You can click on show. So all the data is there for you to print. In this bottom of this screen, MAT reported, say $9,400, MAT received from our perspective, 0. So once we receive a payment, this MAT received will show $9,400 and net will be, the difference will be 0. And you could enter comments for us to see, or for the city to see for future purposes. For, let's say that there is an exemption, it's kind of hard to explain. Put that under the comment section, it stays forever. Even during an external audit, let's say. And the following month, click on the MAT submit again. And this time, click on April and so forth. And submit again. So this is about a 30 seconds or a minute a month. So if you click on aging report, it shows you on March, $9,400 is entered. And the MAT received a none. Delta means variance. So you can actually see yourself the entire picture of the year. And the following year, it will continue, 2025 will be added to it. And the dashboard for the city, there is another button on the top. It actually shows you the entire picture of all the hotels, who reported, who have not reported that information. So this is the perspective of a one hotel only. So this is the end of my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.